Hey guys, here for our Tuesday transformation. I am downtown Savannah in Warren Square, and right now there's no one here, so I have my mask off. If I see anyone coming around, I will put it on, just FYI. But it's just a beautiful day out here in the park. Kind of overcast, but beautiful nonetheless. Let me turn this around so you can kind of get a glimpse of where I am and how beautiful it is out here. Nice and peaceful. And as you can see, I'm the only person here. But I just wanted to stop in for just a minute. As I said, I'm in Warren Square in downtown Savannah. And just kind of revisit something that I was talking about this morning. And when I thought about that story, I know it was God that brought it back to my mind. So I want to share it with you guys again. Out of Ephesians, we were talking about the fact this morning that Paul was saying that at one point in our lives and one time in our lives, we were dead to trespasses and sins. You know, we fell short. We didn't do what we were supposed to do. He says we were dead. We were dead. And God brought that story back to mind about a woman who was sitting in the ER at a hospital that I worked at. And as she sat in the ER, she came in for treatment and she told the nurse, you know, I've got a sore in my groin or in my private area. And, you know, they're like, okay, we're going to see you because you're here at the ER. But that's something that people generally would go to their OBGYN or to their general practitioner for. And she didn't seem to be in any distress. And so they triaged her and she sat in the ED. In the process, she came up a couple of times to ask, hey, you know, when am I going to be seen? Once again, it wasn't an urgent matter. But the problem was about probably an hour into being in the ED, she passed out and someone came running up to the desk and, you know, someone passed out. She's passed out. Someone needs to come and help her. We go running out and they bring her to the back, you know, and you're cutting clothes off to see what's going on and what's happening with her. And in the process of cutting her clothes off, we found out that sore that was in her groin area was actually had gone all the way down both legs. And she had what we call necrotizing fasciitis. She had a flesh-eating bacteria. And because she was too embarrassed to say what was really going on with her, she sat in the ED for at least an hour. And when we got her to the back, by the time we got her to the back, got her processed, sent her to the OR, she died on the OR table. Because she was ashamed to say what was happening to her. She was ashamed to say that she had something that was eating her flesh away. And you know what, guys? That's what happens to us. We're that same way. We have sin that is eating us alive. It's killing us at the very core of who we are. And we're too embarrassed to tell someone that we are living in a life in a state of sin. And just like that woman who literally died because she was too embarrassed to say what was really happening to her. We don't want to get to that point that we die in our sin because we're ashamed. The Lord wants us to walk in a place where we are no longer ashamed, but we're willing to say, there go I. You know, I stop and I think about that woman from time to time. And I stop and I says, what if she had told somebody when it first started? What if she had gone to her doctor when it first started? What if she had told someone in her family? What if? Because she could have still been with us had she not been ashamed of what was happening in her body. We've got to stop being ashamed and we've got to stop judging others. Church, we're guilty. We're guilty. We're guilty of saying my sin is less than your sin. My sin is smaller than your sin. We're comparing sin. And the sad thing about it is it's killing us all. Just like that necrotizing fasciitis that took her very life. We can let sin do that to us. But you know what I'm glad about? Paul didn't stop by saying we were dead in trespasses and sins. He went on down to verse 4, where he said, but God, who is rich in mercies, mercies that are new every morning, mercies that are new every day. We have an opportunity to come to him and say, Lord, I am living in sin, but I know that you are able to deliver me. I know that you are able to give me peace. I know that you're able to lift me up out of this place. So if you're that woman who has a sin that is embarrassing you, you're too ashamed to say it or talk about it to anybody, call me. Send me an inbox. We can work together to reach that section of the word that doesn't just say that we were dead in sin and trespasses, but says, but God, who is rich in mercies, but God, who is able to lift us out, but God, who can catch us before we are too far gone. He can come into your lives. We've got to begin to extend that to everyone and even to ourselves. Let's stop being ashamed of the sin that does so easily beset us, but let's lay it at the altar. That day, seeing the pain that woman must have been in as that necrotizing fasciitis was eating down both of her legs, tunneling. When we looked, there was pus and there was all kinds of grime that was as a result of that flesh-eating bacteria that she had. And we stopped and we said, how did she live like this? How did she let this go on so long? And then I look at our spiritual lives and I say, how did we live like this? How did we let this go on for so long? And God says that's the very reason so many people stay in their sins, is because everybody wants to know why and how. Can we just say, but God, who is rich in mercies, who is able to deliver you, who is able to set you free? Can we just start that way? But God, instead of how could you have let this happen? How could you? Can we just say, but God, who is rich in mercy, who loves us, who delivers us, who sets us free? Can we just say, but God? And free people from that place of judgment, free them from that place of sin and being caught, and just say, but God. Because that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear, but God, who is rich in mercy, he's able to deliver you, Valerie. He's able to set you free. He's able to bring you out of that place of sin. So I just wanted to stop in and say that today. Tuesday transformation. Don't die in your sin. Don't sit in a place of shame and condemnation and guilt and not come to him and not come to his people. So I hope that I've given you something today to just help you hang on to, that we don't have to stay in the situation that we were in. But God. Hi, Chelsea. It's so good to see you. But God, who is rich in mercy, he's able to deliver us. He's able to set us free. He is able. And the mercy that he showed me, he'll show the next person. The mercy that he gave to me, he will give to the next person. And we better stop condemning people, and we better start lifting them up. Hey, Jana. We better start giving glory to God and thanking him for the mercy he's given us, and begin to impart and give that mercy away to other people. Remembering that mercy is giving us what we don't deserve. You know, he could so easily take us out, but he doesn't. He doesn't. He loves us in spite of ourselves. So one more time, I want you to know you don't have to be that woman sitting in the ER ashamed to tell people that you have a flesh-eating bacteria. when I think about it, it just hurts my heart that there was no one in her life that she felt she could tell that to. And that as a result of sitting in that ED, she died with something consuming her flesh. And that's what sin does. It wants to eat us alive. Tell someone. Tell someone. Don't die in your sin. But God, who is rich in mercy. Jennifer, Debbie, but God, who is rich in mercy. He's able to deliver us from those places. So don't die in your sin. Don't die in your shame. Don't die in your guilt and condemnation. And shame on anyone who is in the church who would try and make you feel guilty. All they need to do is extend the same mercy that God extended to them. Because without him, there go I. Without him, I'm in the same situation. But I recognize that because of him, I am able to live and thrive and to be alive. Don't die in your sin. Know that God is able. I love you guys. I pray, share this with somebody. Somebody needs to hear this Tuesday transformation. And if you just came in the room, you missed the story at the beginning, go back and listen to it so you can hear what God is able to do and how he does not want us in the same situation that we were in before. He's able. And I'm just going to turn this camera around one more time so you can just enjoy the beauty of where I am now. I had to come out here and sit in this and begin to absorb some of the life and the joy and the peace that God's able to give. Because sometimes when you're sitting in your home by yourself, you start soaking in all of the guilt, the shame, and the condemnation. Come on out of there. Come on out of there. God does not want us in that place. Hello, Sharik. He doesn't want us in that place. He wants us to be fully alive, experiencing him and sharing the love and the joy of the Lord. I called a friend of mine, Penny, today, and she told me, she says, girl, she says, you know the joy of the Lord is your strength. You need friends like that who will say, girl, the joy of the Lord is your strength. Get up, rise up. Come out of that shame. Come out of that guilt. Come out of that condemnation. Walk in freedom. Walk in peace. Walk in love. And extend that same love to others. Hey, Billy. Extend that same love to others. I'm going to say that one more time because I have a feeling that there's somebody who God has brought out of shame, out of guilt, and out of condemnation, and they're so far removed from what they used to do and what they used to be. They're far removed from it, so they don't remember the pain of it. They don't remember the tears that they shed. And so when someone comes to them in the same sin that they used to be in, they've lost their compassion. They've lost their ability to reach out. And so that person comes to you and you put them in a deeper place of shame and condemnation. And I just say right now, Lord, deliver you from that. Lord, deliver that person. Let them remember the pain of where they were so that they can help pull someone else out of it. We don't need to be dying in the hospital. We don't need to be dying in the emergency room, and every church is an emergency room. And remember, I told you, a church is not the building. The church is, we are the church. The people are the church. People should not be dying when they have come to us for care. So, Lord, just remind them of where they used to be and the fact that you pull them out with your mercy, with your love, with your unjudgmental spirit, and let us, the church, have that same spirit living in us so that we can pull people out of guilt, shame, and condemnation. I love you guys. Listen to this and share it because there's someone who needs to hear it. I pray that God will bless you, that he will remind you of his great mercies, that he will shower his grace upon you, that he will lift you up higher every day, and that he will allow you to experience the great joy that comes from his presence. For in his presence there is fullness of joy, and at his right hand there are pleasures forevermore. Lord, let the people that are listening to this experience that kind of joy. Let them experience experience that kind of peace. Let them experience your presence that is forevermore. I thank God for you, and I just ask him to just let your life be an overflow. Blessings, peace, and love.